What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right. What is it? It's Sunday night. That means it's Sunday night Radio Baloney Live. I'm your host, Richie Baloney. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I had a good weekend. Kind of a lazy weekend. It was pretty good, though. Hope you guys had a good one. We've got lots of news to talk about. Looks like we got Jesse in the chat already. And Jesse's asking, what about Trugina? Trugina. Any mention of a Trugina in the chat? Get some applause. There we go. What about Trugina? Well, we've got some Trugina for you coming up. We got a bunch of stuff. Should we go through the menu? First, we're going to talk about Trump sentencing in his New York hush money bullshit case, suspended indefinitely. That has to be going away. We're going to talk about the UK as well. Looks like they've had enough of their commie Labour prime minister in the UK, and they're now the public is desperately trying to get rid of him. They've only had him since July, and they're trying. He's been an absolute disaster. We'll go through why. Let's see. There's just like something from Trump, which I just think was fun. They said he was done forever, enjoyable. As for Trugina, he is forever the dancing fool. That's what he'll be forever known as, is the dancing fool. Excuse me while I cough for just a second. Yeah, the dancing fool. While Rome burns, there's Justin Trudeau partying away at Taylor Swift concert. I guess he took his daughter. The Trutards and the Truanon are all going, what, a guy's not even allowed to take his daughter to a concert and have fun? No, not really. Not Trudeau. Trudeau's not allowed to do that. With the waste that he's laid Canada, no, he doesn't. No, with the destruction that Justin Trudeau has caused Canada, no, he doesn't get to have any fun. Doesn't get to do any normal things. I'm sorry. Why won't he just leave? If he would just leave, he could go do that and nobody would complain about it. Just leave, preferably out of the country. Leave us alone, Justin Trudeau. We don't like you. It's clear. It's plain. Look at the polls, for God's sakes. We don't want you dancing at Taylor Swift concerts. We don't want you as prime minister. We don't want you in parliament. We don't want you putting through any legislation. Nothing. Just leave us the fuck alone. Please, we're begging you. Of course he won't, though, because he's awful. An awful, malignant narcissist. So we'll take a look at that to answer your question, Jesse. We've got Ezra Levant being arrested for breach of the police. He gets arrested, Ezra Levant. If you're conservative in Canada and you're against, like terrorist mobs everywhere, you get arrested because that's Canada now. That's Trudeau's Canada. Poilievre has something to say about what happened in the riots in Montreal while Trudeau was off dancing with Taylor Swift. So, I mean, just so cringe, right? Just so utterly cringe, Justin Trudeau off. Like, look at that. Cringe. Cringe. Unbelievably cringe. I've got more cringe from him, too, by the way. We've got him doing cringe at the Queen's funeral, Bohemian Rhapsody style. Just embarrassing. We've got him doing cringe in India, doing his more dancing cringe. The dancing fool, Justin Trudeau. Oh, we've got more. He gives us no end of ammunition. All right. Pierre Poilievre's got something to say about it, which is good. We've got, here's Rosie sent this in. Look at that. What does it say? Current mood. Look at that. I know. I was like that a bit at times this weekend. 100%. And of course, we have our, we don't have the cooking shows. We're not showing the cooking shows, but we're showing shows about fences today. And also how to fix a knife. Where's that one? See, also shows how to fix a knife as well. And we will also have some sports. And I don't know, some sanding as well. And maybe some swimming. I don't know. And just other things, lovely things that can that are good palate cleansers and just good for the soul. For the lads. All right. So there we have it. That's what we're going through. What's going on? Who do we got here? We got Rosie in the chat. Good to see you, Rosie. Let's see. She says, every story I see reported on the UK is worse than the last. 100%. We've got Jamis Eves. Good to see ya. Now we've got Rumbum joined us. Good to see you. Says, hell yeah, come right in. Come right in time for my bikini lass. Yes, you did. That's the only reason you show up here. I know it. But I know what the lads want. And they want this. And it's only natural. All right. So shall we just get to it? I hope everybody had a good weekend. Let me have a sip of rant juice before we get going. Now, Jesse's saying more boobs, please. I'll give you some more boobs before we get started. Maybe we'll just take a look at the chat for a second. Are you guys saying anything else in the chat? Well, I like this fence lady. She's a huge fan of fences. And I see nothing wrong with it. I wonder if that's her fence or if she just goes to different people's fences and jumps on them. I don't know. I don't really care either way. This is handy because if you're out like in the woods or something and you're hitting your knife with a stick for some reason and the handle breaks off, this is good to know. This could save your life because that's the only thing that this video is about. It's about fixing that knife that you stupidly broke. So I don't know. But anyway, I think this fulfills your request. A little bit of sanding never hurt anybody either. I find it quite relaxing. It's quite like mesmerizing and hypnotic and kind of meditative, I would say. Sanding is extreme. I didn't realize how relaxing sanding was until I saw this video. Then I realized it's quite a relaxing activity. And then nicotine. So much better. All right. Enough sanding for now. We'll get back to it. Trump sentencing in New York hush money case suspended indefinitely. So the utterly ridiculous case with the novel legal theories, with the removing the statutes of limitations, and then the whole thing a misdemeanor relying on being conducted while committing a felony, which the felony was never actually even defined, let alone prosecuted. Yeah, probably best this goes away. Trump's team called the ruling a decisive win for the president-elect. They all have to go this way. There's who was the judge? Engeron's one too, the ridiculous one in New York, which is now before the appellate court, I believe, and it looks like it's getting totally shredded there. The utterly ridiculous case where Trump got a loan on Mar-a-Lago, paid the money back ahead of time. Bank was happy, wanted to do more. Absolutely no victims. He did not even receive a trial in that case, in the business fraud case. He did not even receive a trial. It was a summary judgment from the judge who just said, no, you're guilty. Nobody else needs to see it. No trial, no jury needs to see it. I'm just deciding that you're guilty. Now we go to the penalty phase. It all has to go away. Everything, every last one. All just simply obvious lawfare and abuse of power and political corruption, political and judicial corruption. Obviously, Banana Republic stuff all the way through. The judge overseeing President-elect Donald Trump's hush money case in New York has postponed the sentencing in the case and is giving his lawyers the chance to argue now that the conviction should be thrown out because he won the election. It should be thrown out because it's bullshit. New York Supreme Court Justice Juan Merchan, whose daughter, his family was profiting off the whole, the whole thing is rotten to the core. So New York Supreme Court Justice Juan Merchan, who Trump's team tried to have removed from the case over allegations of bias, did not schedule a future sentencing date in Friday's one-page order canceling next week's sentencing hearing. I bet you these judges are starting to freak out now because if Harris wins, everything, whatever they did, no big deal. Nobody's going to find out. Whatever was happening behind the scenes, that just will be forgotten. Now there might be some scrutiny. Exactly how did these bizarre judgments come about? How did these bizarre cases come about exactly? I think we need to see some communications. Let's see. Breaking. It's official. Trump sentencing in New York is canceled indefinitely. Quote, in a decisive win for President Trump, the hoax Manhattan case is now fully stayed and sentencing is adjourned, said Stephen Chung, Trump's communications director. Quote, President Trump won a landslide victory as the American people have issued a mandate to return him to office and dispose of all remnants of the witch hunt cases. That's the thing. Enough people were not fooled. They tried to fool enough of the people enough of the time, and it just didn't work. They weren't able to fool enough people with these obviously ludicrous cases. And again, there's going to be a lot of people shaking in their boots going, uh-oh, what I did was really corrupt. All of the sham lawfare attacks against President Trump are now destroyed, and we are focused on making America great again, he continued. The Washington Post reported that Merchan is allowing Trump's lawyers to make their case for why the conviction should be thrown out now in light of his re-election due to the interference it would cause in his ability to execute his role as president. Quote, just as a sitting president is completely immune from any criminal process, so too is President Trump as president-elect. Trump's lawyers wrote in a letter filed this week. Certainly there are those who would rather just burn down the world than have Trump actually assume office on January 20th. We saw Biden, who refused to allow Ukraine to use the American missiles deep into Russian territory up until Trump wins. Then all of a sudden, boom, now you can do it. That just seems like totally reckless and insane. That just seems like an obvious attempt to sabotage Trump's intent, his efforts to find a negotiated settlement to it. That's obviously what's happening there. It also brings you a little closer. It moves that little minute hand a little closer to midnight on the nuclear clock, doesn't it? Seems insanely reckless and insane. But again, expect to see crazy stuff. Crazy deep state stuff before he takes office. The case, which was filed by George Soros-backed, his name comes up a lot when you're talking about crazy far-left insanity. George Soros-backed Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg was always considered by far the weakest that Trump faced, as many Democrats even voiced serious concerns about it, noting that it likely never would have been brought if Trump was not running for president. I think that's fairly obvious. The two federal cases that Trump faced from special counsel Jack Smith are rapidly coming to an end, since the Department of Justice is not able to prosecute a case against a sitting president. So it is all falling apart. But I would not expect the deep state to give up. They're going to continue. They're shameless, and I think a lot of them are frightened. All right, let's check out the chat. Let's see. And let me actually just check on ads. Are they going to let me do any ads tonight? Nope. Nothing. No ads available. We might not be getting any ads tonight, folks. And it's a shame because I know how much you guys love those. Let's see. Rumbum says, I may have to break more knives in the woods if they're knife fixing beauty that comes out of nowhere. Yeah, if she comes out of nowhere to help, I think she might. I think that, yeah, I think she might. I'm not sure, but you have to have that thing, those laces on your backpack, though, or else she won't show up, I think. So just be warned. Jesse says, lots of people need to be disbarred. I think that's going to happen. I think there's a good chance that will happen. I mean, there was just obvious lawfare happening, obvious politically motivated nonsense. Let's see. Unconstitutional nonsense. Rumbum says, remember, people, the lefties truly believe that Trump is the one that will weaponize the DOJ while they do this shit. Yeah, but we know the trick now, right? It's like they accuse you of doing what they're actually doing. I believe that's in like that Rules for Radicals, that commie guidebook. It's like it's a leftist strategy. Yeah, we got Spam Bot Fodder in the chat. Good to see you. He says, good evening, fellow degenerates. Good evening to you, degenerate. Let's see. Rumbum says, he's got a testimonial. So as you all know, when you either subscribe to the channel or just simply hit a like on the stream, I give you some of the reservoir, some of the stockpile of good karma that I build up while I'm preparing these live streams and while I'm also doing the live stream. I can't keep it for myself. That would be bad karma. So I got to give it away just to keep the good karma going. It's a never-ending thing. So when people like the stream or subscribe to the channel, they get some free good karma from me. This is what I do for you. This is what I do for my audience because I care about you guys. I got a testimonial here from Rumbum. Says he hit the like button and a female bud, he has texted him first, like catching a glimpse of a unicorn. That's the power of liking the Radio Baloney live stream. All right, so let's move on. What are we going on here? So as you know, in July of this year, the UK elected in a Labour, like a far leftist Labour commie government after being betrayed by the Conservative Party in the UK for 14 years. So they didn't win because they had some giant mandate. Let me show you this. Keir Starmer wins British general election with record low turnout. Only 60% of eligible voters participated. They won with only 33% of the popular vote. What happened was that the Conservative voters all stayed home because the Conservatives had behaved basically like Labour light. Totally betrayed their own voters, Conservative voters in the UK. So he snuck in. So this snake snuck in to power. And, he hasn't wasted any time trying to destroy the UK, trying to turn the UK into the party from 1984. He hasn't rested in his attempt to try and wreck the UK, to turn it into Airstrip 1. Breaking: petition calling for a general election smashes through 400,000 signatures and is running at an unbelievable rate of 2,000 a minute. The British are standing up en masse. I think that it only needed 100,000 is what the goal was, but it's smashing through. He has proven himself. He's behaving as if he had this rock solid overwhelming popular mandate, and he did not. His victory was really an illusion in a lot of ways. Yes, they have a majority, but it was the weakest majority you can possibly imagine. It's just your opponents just didn't show up because their own leaders were so terrible. Spambot Fodder says the Labour Party of the UK is implementing 1984 into law 100%. Let's see. So what's he been up to? So why are people hating him so much? Well, thousands of farmers protest against inheritance tax changes. So what are they doing? They're going after the farmers. They're going after the farmers. They're increasing the inheritance tax on farmers. The goal seems to be, I think it's up to, 20%, I believe it's 20%. Let's see if they mention under here. It's BBC, so they probably won't. Let's see. From April 2026, inherited agricultural assets worth more than £1 million, which that's going to be any farm is going to be worth more than that, which were previously exempt, will be liable to the tax at 20%. 20%. And apparently that's half the usual inheritance tax rate. So if the usual one is 40%, that's crazy. But 20%. So what would be the result of this? What is the goal? Well, the goal really obviously is to force small farmers to have to, the families of small farmers who are inheriting a farm, to have to sell it to pay the tax. That's the point. What are they going to do with it? Probably the government wants the land to build giant block houses for all of the immigrants that they're bringing in. They intend to just continue bringing in forever, infinitely. So that's not very popular. You know who makes your food? The farmers do. It's also like a hedge against inflation, creating at least some of your food at home. Terrible idea, but exactly what you would expect from crazy socialists. Globalist socialists. Really, the globalist part, it goes unsaid. Like, socialists are globalists. But anyway, let's continue. Let's see. Reform UK lashes out at Labour's disgusting 500 million foreign farmer stash. A spit in the face. A spit in the face. So while they're taxing the hell out of British farmers and obviously this is disastrous. They're giving away 500 million pounds to foreign farmers. That's a slap across the face. That's terrible. This is the sort of thing that might make you unpopular. What else we got here? Starmer denies UK at war after Ukraine fires British Storm Shadow missiles into Russian territory. He seems very keen to start World War III, Keir Starmer. He's a huge war hawk, it turns out. A huge war hawk. He's super pro turning the Ukraine-Russia war or special military operation into World War III. Sir Keir Starmer has said that the UK is not at war and suggested there had been irresponsible rhetoric from Russia. Maybe the irresponsible part was allowing Ukraine to use your missiles to shoot into Russian territory. Ukraine has fired British long-range Storm Shadow missiles. Ukraine has fired British long-range Storm Shadow missiles into Russian territory for the first time. And this is the latest sign of a change in stance from Western countries on involvement in the conflict. And this is after Trump won the election, and he has made it very clear he's going to try and find a negotiated settlement there. This is reckless, heedless, lunatic insanity. This is trying to sabotage that. This is an attempt to make sure people will die in large numbers, in the hundreds of thousands, certainly for years to come. Based on this fiction that somehow Ukraine's going to turn it around and win, this doesn't make any sense. This isn't a war of attrition. This is an attritional war. Russia has more of everything. They're going to win. Speaking to BBC Radio Bristol as part of a local radio round on Friday, the 22nd November, Sir Keir Starmer was asked, "Are we at war in relation to the conflict in Ukraine?" No, we're not at war, but Ukraine certainly is, because Ukraine has been invaded by Russia, and that war has now been going on for just over 1,000 days. Okay, so what might Russia's perspective on this be? And I'm not like some like Russia file. I'm just looking at reality. I'm just trying to accurately describe reality here, considering there's 6,000 nuclear warheads on the table. Right? I don't know. It just seems kind of sane to remember that. You know, all of those missiles pointed all over cities all over the world. Maybe we should try and avoid that. You know, maybe we don't want to test deterrence as far as it can go. Maybe that's reckless. But from Russia's perspective, if they're getting missiles fired into their territory, British missiles that were given to Ukraine, and is it even Ukraine are there British soldiers in Ukraine that are actually doing the firing? Who knows? If you're from the Russian perspective, you're looking at this and thinking, well, wait a second. You're at very least giving them weapons, missiles to shoot into our country. Like, no, you're at war with us. You're clearly at war with us. Obviously, we would think that if another country was doing the same thing. Obviously. This is crazy. I think starting World War III is not popular with anybody outside the elites. And I don't know why it's popular with them. But again, 400,000 signatures, a rate of 2,000 a minute. Petition calling for general election to get rid of this lunatic. Let's see. Oh, do you remember the Southport stabbing that everybody was told where there's where a lunatic stabbed a bunch of children, and everyone was told it's not terrorism, it's not Islamic. Anybody who says that is a racist. They only would say that because they're racist. A bunch of people are actually have been sent to prison in the UK for saying that, for just politically incorrect speech on social media in general. But everyone was told, because the assumption was this is like every other time, right? It's Islamic terrorism. They're told, no, you're racist, white supremacist, everybody's evil who says that. Well, the Southport stabbing suspect charged with terror offense and producing deadly poison ricin. What does it say in here? They also found a computer file on an Al-Qaeda training manual titled Military Studies in the Jihad Against the Tyrants. So it turns out it was. The thing that the government said it absolutely wasn't. And if you say it is, you're evil. It was. Not to mention the fact, I mean, you've got other things. They've got Tommy Robinson in prison for 18 months now for telling the truth. So I have to make another video on. But that's the state of Britain right now. So they've got a petition calling for a general election. It's not going to happen. I don't think it'll happen. He'll be like Trudeau, just cling on, because the elites like him. It's like the elites like Trudeau, right? He can just cling on until the very last second, until he's pried out of power. I think that's what will happen with Starmer. That's just what these guys are like. That's just what these cretins are like. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. Let me see if they're going to give me an ad. No ads. All right. Let's see. Rumbum says they had a chance with Nigel Farage, and yet they did not take that win. You know, Nigel, he's way better than these people. He's still kind of a bit like he rants against like Tommy Robinson, apparently, which I think is a terrible mistake. And then I think actually just totally immoral to do that. Tommy Robinson has been called the spine of of Britain, and I think that's probably correct. Men sitting in a jail cell again for another 18 months for basically for dissenting. The UK really is turning into Airstrip 1 from 1984. Spambot Fodder says the Labour Party of the UK is implementing 1984 into law. They are. MHJ35, welcome to the chat. Welcome from another degenerate. We're all degenerates here. Let's see. Spambot Fodder says terrifying. Let's see. Rumbum says trying to take their land so the government controls it all. Yeah, I think so. Just like in the Netherlands, right? They want to get the farmers off the land. So that I think the reason is so they can build migrant cities on them. Also, too, I mean, if you're producing your own food, that fundamentally makes the population less dependent on the government, and a government that would be organizing importation of food. Otherwise, I mean, of course, food is imported into the UK anyway, and I get food is also a hedge against things like inflation. I think that the authoritarians see an advantage in getting rid of domestic food production, domestic agriculture, and then just building migrant cities on top of it. Rosie says, I love that the Brits are signing so quickly. It encourages more of them. Yep. Jesse says, people who have been oppressed so much and see no path to a voice so participating because they feel their vote will be worthless. Another leftist tactic. Things have to get bad enough for people to stand up. Well, we've just seen something incredibly inspiring with the triumph of MAGA in the United States. That is really, I think, a clarion call to the rest of the world, to those people who are feeling extremely black-pilled and fatalistic in other countries, that it can actually change, right? Like you can actually beat the machine. So hopefully, it will start something off. I mean, in Canada, we'll be getting rid of Trudeau. What Pierre Poilievre will be, I'm cautiously optimistic that at least he's a step in the right direction. Certainly far, far better than Trudeau. He might surprise us and be extremely good, but we'll have to see. Let's see. Rumbum says, even if this does spark a massive conflict, I think you're talking about the U.S. and British missiles being authorized to be shot deep into Russia. I really hope Trump just wipes his hands saying, you had your chance to end this, but you choose death. See ya. But you chose death. See ya. Well, I mean, this thing is escalating, and there is the potential, right? Like whenever there are 6,000 nuclear warheads on the table, right? That should give you pause for thought. But you shouldn't behave recklessly in that situation. Let's see. Rosie says, Radio Baloney, you forget we may no longer need farmers. The story out of Asia is the creations of edible food from human waste. Yeah, we covered that on a fact check here on this very channel. What was it, about a few weeks ago? And it's disgusting. Utterly disgusting. Ugh. But yeah, that's a vision into the disgusting future. Rumbum says, replying to Rosie, those crazies really love the smell of their own farts so much they had to make food out of their shit to try its taste. Yeah. I don't like the gross future of eating bugs and food grown from shit. Actual shit. I don't like that future. I don't want that future. I also don't want to share my car. Fuck you. Commie gets nothing. Because the WF wants you to, the World Economic Forum wants us all to share our cars or just not have cars. I say fuck them. Fuck him. All right. Spambot Fodder says that Trugina is not far behind the UK. Things are not good. Yeah. I mean, the good thing in Canada is that the signs are clear, right? The writing's on the wall for Trudeau. He is going to go. We're going to have a conservative government. The question is, we need to keep the issue is we have to keep the pressure on the new conservative government when it comes in, not to portray us like the conservatives did in the UK. But yeah, Trugina is absolutely an aspiring authoritarian. He's done as much authoritarianism as he can get away with. Yeah, I mean, the Emergencies Act, which was essentially, the War Measures Act, martial law, right, was deemed unconstitutional afterwards. Right, the court said, yeah, you weren't allowed to do that. So he's pushed it as far as he can go. He really would be a monster. He would be one of those evil dictators if he could. I believe so. I mean, all he seems to want to do is restrict Canadians' rights, gun rights, free speech rights, Bill C-63. Let's not forget about that. The right to peacefully assemble if he doesn't like you. If he likes you, right? If you support a terrorist group, you can ransack Canada. He doesn't mind. Let's see. MHJ35 says at least UK will have DeGeneres to love. Ellen DeGeneres has moved to the UK, and it definitely has nothing to do with Epstein or Diddy parties or anything like that. Rumbum says, when a government gives you everything, said government can take it all away. Exactly. Do you remember we saw those, maybe we'll do a fact check on it right now. There was those articles coming out from lefty outlets about how, like, having private gardens was white supremacy or something. Let's do a fact check on it quickly. Hold on.
Fact check.
Hold on. I'll get it up in a second. Hold on. Let's see. So what do we got here? Weeding out horticulture's race problem. Let's see. White supremacy in gardening. I think that's what we're looking at. Yeah, they really want you to be at the mercy of the government entirely, not even having like a home garden. I've been thinking a lot about white supremacy and systemic rubber and all the ways it shows up in American life, including gardening. Even something as simple as gardening is not untouched by white supremacy. Well, her garden is not untouched by total fucking retardation. Although I guess she wouldn't have a garden because then she'd be a white supremacist. The truth is most experts and master gardeners you meet or see on TV and the internet are white. Well, then it must be racist. That's the only thing that makes any sense. That's the only reasonable conclusion you can come to, right? Gardening must be racist. The thing that everybody around the world has done for thousands of years must be racist because she didn't see enough non-white people gardening on the internet. It's the only solution. It's the only thing that makes any damn sense. The only thing. What a retarded world. Let's see. How did I get on that rant, by the way? Oh, yeah. When a government gives you everything, said government can take it away. That's why they don't want you even having a garden. They'll tell you it's white supremacy. They just want to be you completely under their thumb. Rosie says, true, they give and take away, and even hitting the like button does no good. Well, hitting the like button on these streams actually does help that. It does stop them a little bit, just a little bit, but every bit helps, right? Every bit helps. Even when Rumble won't give me any ads to read for some reason. Let's see. Rosie says, commies bad. Rumble good. 100% correct. Jesse says they put dead bodies in the drinking water now. Ugh. I don't even want to think about that. That's just but ugh. We're not even going there. We're not doing any fact checks. I'm just going to leave that one. Rumbum says he's clarifying here. I mean, I hope Trump wipes his hand clean and leaves Ukraine on their own. Well, that's the leverage that he has, right? The leverage that he has with Zelensky is you sit down at the table and you work out a deal, and you're not going to like the deal, but guess what? It's too late. You're losing. You're going to lose. There is no hope of your conditions of Russia has to leave all Russian territory and back to 1992 border. None of that is going to happen. Right? Russia outnumbers you in artillery, something like 10 or 15 to 1. In men, you're far. You can't. Ukraine is grabbing just guys off the street and rushing them to the front lines. Russia's bringing in at 30,000 volunteers a month. It's a much larger country. Its economy is much larger. In fact, its economy's grown since the beginning of the war. The sanctions didn't work. They're going to win. In this attritional nature of war, they've just got more of everything, including men. And it doesn't matter how many weapons you give to Ukraine. They don't have enough men to hold the line. At the end of the day, you still need men on the line. But Trump's only leverage with Zelensky is sit down at the table. You've got to work something out. You're not going to like it, but at least it's going to stop the unnecessary deaths of your countrymen. Or I'm not going to give you any more weapons. And Europe can't make up the difference themselves. They're critically low on everything themselves. So that's what he's got. So either you do that or I'm leaving. Either you sit down or I'm going to wipe my hands of this and just walk away. So we'll see what happens. Seems like, the European leaders want to fight to the last Ukrainian. So we'll see. Rumbum says, don't let them drag the U.S. and Canada into a nuke war with Russia. Well, Trump is not going to escalate. I'm very confident in saying that. Let's see. Jesse says, crazy process. You should look it up. It's too gross for now. I'll tell you what. Remember it. And what are we tonight? It's Sunday night tonight. On Tuesday, we'll look it up. I can't do it tonight. It's too gross. I got to work myself up to it. Rumbum says, Soylent Green Gatorade. Jesse says, aquatic cremation. Fact check it. I'm not doing it tonight. It's too gross. I'm just not in that frame of mind tonight, Jesse. I'm sorry. Remember it. Come back on Tuesday, and we'll do a fact check. I promise you that. All right. But tonight I'm not doing it, man. I'm just not. That's some messed up stuff. Let's see. Spambot Fodder says you don't work up to that. You work down to it. We'll get there, but it's a Sunday night, for God's sakes. Come on. Donald J. Trump. They said he was done forever. He just released this. I just thought you guys would like to see it.
They said he was done forever.
He is done.
The end of this Trump era.
There'll be new faces and new voices.
The final chapter of Donald Trump.
I don't know what the future of this party can be.
The movement we started is only just beginning.
The entire system went after.
Mar-a-Lago was raided by FBI in New York.
A sweeping indictment in
Donald
Georgia.
Trump says he's been indicted again.
I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear.
But he never stopped fighting for you.
I will never stop fighting for you, your family, and our magnificent country.
And we will win, win, win. We're going to win, win, win.
Thank you, President Trump, for fighting for us. The greatest political comeback in American history.
Donald Trump has been elected president.
Now, it's time we fight for you.
The golden age of America, that's what we have.
The best is yet to come. They said.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good. I thought you guys would enjoy that. It's pretty good, but I'm not sure that anything could beat the what we played every time that Trump took one of the swing states. What was that? Yeah, Kamala was going to be the guy who rides his own dinosaur and can summon lightning to his magic staff. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I like that in the chat room, Bum. That is sweet. The Trump dance. That's nice. That's nice. More of that in the chat. In fact, I'm going to give you the donation horn. Applause for that because I like it so much. Good stuff. All right, so let's do I have anything else in here? All right, we already saw this stuff. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the dancing fool. Although I might need a palate cleanser briefly before we get to the dancing fool. Let's first off go here. And I just need to see a bit of sanding first, because it relaxes me. I find it kind of meditative, the sanding. It's really nice. And I guess that's a special sanding shirt she's wearing. That's a professional one, I guess. I don't know. It's good though. The whole thing I just find, for some reason, I don't know why, I just find it kind of hypnotic. Something hypnotic about it. Something really nice. Something, deeply, something that just kind of represents Western civilization to me. I don't know what's going on. There we go. Okay, I'm feeling good now. Aside from feeling stressed for a second there, just reading all the news and talking about Keir Starmer and how he's turning, the UK into Airstrip 1, and it's all just very depressing stuff. So sometimes you just need to step back and just appreciate some good sanding. Some good old-fashioned, some wholesome sanding. All right. I guess we'll get into it now. Now, as I say, we're dealing with Trump. We're dealing with Trudeau. And Trudeau's always difficult to deal with because I hate him so much. And listening to his voice is so irritating and frustrating. And really, it's maddening. Just looking at him is unpleasant. That is just an awful, awful person. But let's see what's going on here. There's Trudeau. There's Trudeau dancing away at a, guess where? At a Taylor Swift concert. Taylor Swift acting like a total buffoon once again. And of course, the Trutards and the Truanon are on X, and they're talking about, well, can't a dad even take his daughter to a concert and have fun? No, Trudeau can't. After what Trudeau has done to Canada, no concerts for him. He doesn't get to have any fun. Not with the ruin that he's wreaked upon Canada. No. This is the man who said that we'll have to forgive him if he doesn't think about monetary policy. Right? This is the guy who said Canada's the first post-national country. Didn't ask any of us. What does that mean? Are we a globalist country now? Trudeau seems to think so. That is what he's been endeavoring to prove with his mass migration, obviously. Said Canada has no core identity. I always thought, that's mirroring there. He has no core identity. Canada does. He doesn't. But that's what, narcissists do, right? So the answer is no, he doesn't get to go out and have a night out and have fun. No, he can do that after he leaves. Please leave. Please go away. We don't like you. We don't want you. Please leave us alone. Just leave us alone. At the very least, stop doing anything. I'll tell you what, if you stop doing anything politically or economically, you can go to concerts every night. Fine. Just don't do anything. Don't touch anything. In fact, it'd be preferable if you just went to any other country and watched concerts there. That would be fine. Just don't do anything until the next election. Of course he will. He's going to try and ram through his online censorship bill with its insane, it just absolutely insane pre-crime where they think you might do a hate in the future, so they'll put you on house arrest for a year, and if you don't like that, they can put you in prison. We just want him to leave us alone now. Go away. The polls are clear. We don't like you. We don't want you. Please go away. Once you go away, you can party every night. But here he is, dancing away while the people that he brought into Canada that nobody asked for are tearing up and wrecking Montreal. Maybe once he found out all this was going on, maybe he should have left the concert and just said, sorry, said to his daughter, sorry, hey, I'm the prime minister. I kind of have responsibilities. I can't just stand here and be filmed acting like an utter cringe douchebag. But Dad, you're always acting like a utter cringe douchebag. I know, but maybe I should do my job or something, or just maybe a bit of stoicism. I don't know, in the face of what he has forced upon this country. So it's quite grotesque, isn't it? Let's see. Let's take a look at him dancing here. It's super cringe. I know. I hope nobody's just had dinner or anything. I guess it's that time. Maybe get like a barf bag or something, or a bucket to throw up into. But here we go. We have to take a look. I bet you Taylor Swift was nauseous on the stage looking at him. Oh, what a cretin. What a cretin. And this is just normal for him, by the way. This is just normal for him. So let's see. We've got a bunch of... He loves dancing and embarrassing himself and humiliating the country. Here he is dancing. Here he is in India dance. India hates him, by the way. Oh, there are so many things that should have just been the end of this man. Let's see, what else we got? We've got, here he is at the Queen's funeral, humiliating the country yet again. Let's see. Let's listen to this. I know it's hard. But if it becomes too much, just plug your ears. If you feel like the cringe might seriously injure you, just plug your ears. Oh, God, that's difficult. I'm sorry to do that to you guys. That's difficult. Oh, that's almost fatal levels of cringe there. Because I'm easy come, easy go. Fuck off, commie. Commie gets nothing. He's doing this at the Queen's funeral. What the fuck?
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
He can't help it. He can't help it. We know why.
I have a slight learning disability.
We know. Because I'm easy come, easy go. Fuck off. Leave us alone. Commie gets nothing. It's maddening. Maddening. This is what we have to put up with in this country. He's worse than Biden. I'm telling you, when we finally get rid of him, he's divorced now, so he's free to go to the United States and have a lesbian relationship with Kamala Harris. I think that's where this is all heading. So he's doing his little dance as he normally does. His cringe public behavior, thinking that it's cool. Hello, fellow youths. While he's doing that, what have we got? Well, we got this going on. Because Mother Trudeau decided we needed diversification. We needed to be diversified. Thanks, Mother Trudeau. Trudeau's Canada. Trudeau's Canada. Thanks for all that empathy. Well, thanks for all your limitless empathy, Justin Trudeau. It's worked out really great for us. Let's see. A lot of cafes there. A lot of cafes there. I don't like terrorists. I'm just going to come out and say it. All right. Let's see. Also, Trudeau wants to, he's going to arrest the Prime Minister of Israel if he comes to Canada. So that's another thing. So what does Pierre Poilievre have to say about that? Because of some ICC bullshit. I don't care about the International Criminal Court. Fuck them. I don't care. I just don't give a shit about any of these globalist organizations. Don't care what they think. Don't want to be a part of it. Don't want to be a part of the WHO, any of it. WEF, any of this stuff. No, thank you.
As you know, the International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, his former defense minister, Hamas officials. The Prime Minister was asked about this yesterday. He said he would abide by international law. What is your response, Mr. Poilievre?
I think it's just another example about how radical and wildly woke our Prime Minister has become, that he's now disagreed with President Biden on this, and said that he would arrest the democratically elected leader of a liberal democracy. He hasn't ever said he would arrest the Ayatollah of Iran, whose government wants to fire nuclear missiles at both Israel and the United States, that has carried out genocide against people in Syria. He seems to have no problem with any of that. He cozies up with dictators and terrorists around the world, but yet he wants to lock up the leaders of democratically elected countries. It's no wonder that Justin Trudeau is seen as a joke on the world stage. We need a leader who stands by our liberal democratic friends around the world against terrorists and tyrants, and that's the kind of leader I will be.
Yeah, so also the Americans, and certainly Trump will do the same when he gets into power, are threatening serious sanctions against any country that would be stupid enough to do this. Let's see, our largest trading partner, like we're right next door, like we are, good friends, right? I like, there's an easy answer that's not totally idiotic, but of course Trudeau picks the idiotic one. Why? I don't know, to be cool, I guess. He thinks that's cool. His cool friends of the WEF would I don't know. I mean, he's not making decisions for the sake of rationality or reality. Let's just say reality, right? It's for some other reason. It's not for Canadians. Anyway, his decisions aren't for Canadians. They're for something else. They're for some other power. They're for some globalist power that disconnected from the Canadian people without the concerns of the Canadian people in mind. Apparently, I mean, what else could it possibly be? Why else would he have done the things that he's done? It's certainly not to help Canadians. It's to help something else. It's some other plan with some other purpose that absolutely has no concern with the well-being of Canadians. I mean, it's just beyond stupidity. Let's see. But getting back to Trudeau and his, let's go here. All right. So Pierre Poilievre, violent mobs. He's the leader of, if you're not from Canada watching this right now, he's the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada. Violent mobs riot and rampage through beautiful Montreal, typifying the chaos that is engulfing our once peaceful country after 9 years of Trudeau's radical, divisive agenda. Trudeau fiddles while Montreal burns. He fiddles while Montreal burns. Where's that one with them? Where it's side by side. Him partying away at the Taylor, dancing like a fool at the Taylor Swift concert, and then the consequences of his policies and of the people that he's invited to Canada because of his infinite empathy for everybody except for Canadians, apparently. God damn it, fuck him. Let's see. Here he is responding to Justin Trudeau. Here's Pierre Poilievre responding to Justin Trudeau. What did Trudeau say? What we saw on the streets of Montreal last night was appalling. What we also saw at the Taylor Swift concert was appalling as well. Acts of anti-Semitism, intimidation, and violence must be condemned wherever we see them. Then why did you bring it into the fucking country? It's maddening. The RCMP are in communication with local police. There must be consequences and rioters held accountable. This isn't what Canada used to be like. He made it this way. What did Pierre Poilievre have to say about that? You act surprised. We are reaping what you sowed. This is what happens when a prime minister spends 9 years pushing toxic woke identity politics, dividing and subdividing people by race, gender, vaccine status, religion, region, age, wealth, etc. On top of driving people apart, you systematically break what used to bring us together, saying Canada is, quote, post-national state with no core identity. You erased our veterans and military, the famous five, and even Terry Fox from our passport to replace them with meaningless squirrels, snowflakes, and a drawing of yourself swimming as a boy. You opened the borders to terrorists and lawbreakers and called anyone who questioned it racist. This is all 100% true, and I am glad to see that we have a conservative leader now who will state this so plainly and starkly. Am I naive about Pierre Poilievre? No, I'm cautiously optimistic. I want to remind you of that. This is refreshing, though. You send out your MPs to say one thing in a mosque and the opposite in a synagogue, one thing in a mandir and the opposite in a Gurdwara. You have made Canada a playground for foreign interference. You allowed Iran's IRGC terrorists to legally operate here for 4 years after they murdered 55 of our citizens in a major unprovoked attack. You passed laws that release rampant offenders from prison within hours of their 80th arrest. This is all true. And what is the result? Assassinations on Canadian soil, firebombings of synagogues, extremist violence against mandirs and gurdwaras, over 100 churches burned or vandalized with barely any condemnation from you, all for a total 251% more hate crime. And while you were dancing, Montreal was burning. We won't let you divide us anymore. Call an election now. We will fire you and reclaim our citizenship, our values, our lives, our freedom, and most of all, our country. I like the sounds of that. He did mention, immigration in terms of importing terrorists and all that. I would like to see him be more forthright on the mass migration, the general mass migration. And I remind you, he says that he will match immigration to housing numbers, jobs, all of that sort of thing. Whether or not we will see the massive cuts that would be a result of that when he gets in power, I don't know. But I'm going to keep the pressure on him myself, and I hope a 10,000, 100,000 other Canadians do the same on social media. Also from Pierre Poilievre, Justin Trudeau refuses to condemn the anti-Semitic riots in Montreal. He has time to dance and do selfies, but he's too busy to condemn a violent Hamas takeover of our streets. Not worth the chaos. Yeah, he should have left. He should have just left. Well, yeah, but can't he even go to a concert with his daughter? No, he can't. No, after what he's done to Canada, no, he can't. He doesn't get any rest. He gets no peace. He gets no grace whatsoever. In fact, please just fucking go away. Resign. Leave us. Leave the country so we don't have to see you anymore, even if just by accident. I tell you what, it's maddening. It's really, really maddening. All right. So I think that we'll, what more can we say? What more can I say? All right, let's go through the chat a little bit here. Let me have some more rant juice. Let me see if there's any ad campaigns I can read as well. Oh my God. Well, you guys are going to love this. Listen up. If you have a dog, we've all been there. Our pup goes from full of energy to sick and miserable in an instant, and at the worst times. Then we're calling vets in the middle of the night or on weekends, trying to find a clinic that will take us in. It's a terrible way to manage your dog's health, not to mention your stress levels and your monthly budget. That's why people are getting the Pet Emergency Kit by Positive. That's P-A-W, like a paw, S-I-T-I-V-E, Positive. You see what they did? It's awesome. It contains critical medications and supplies that can not only keep you out of the veterinary office, but may even save your dog's life. And it can even prevent your dog from becoming a dirty, filthy commie. And that's the most important thing of all. Their kits contain critical medications like activated charcoal, styptic powder, and more. It might save your dog's life. Head over to Positive, PAWSITIVE.com, and use code STUDIO. Don't forget the code STUDIO because you'll get 15% off your pet emergency kit. That's code STUDIO at positive.com. You know what to do. And see, I bet Rumble's happy they let me do that ad now, aren't they? I nailed that. Nailed it. Rosie gives me a 9.8 out of 10 Trugina rant. Oh, that was for the Trugina rant. Okay, would be a 10, but this is Trugina. Wait, 11.5 out of 10. It was Trugina. All right. Rosie says 9.8 out of 10. No dirty, filthy, commie dogs. Exactly. That's exactly my point. Rumbum says save the puppies while sticking it to commies. It's a win-win. 10 out of 10. Fantastic. Fantastic ratings there. Nevada says good ad. It was a good ad. Let's see. All right, I'm going to go back through the chat a little bit here, see what you guys have been saying. In fact, let's get it off this goddamn Trudeau, commie Trudeau. It's enough to drive you. It's enough to ruin your life watching that guy. Some sanding will calm us all down and soothe us all quite a bit, I think. Let's let this meditative sanding show just kind of calm our nerves, soothe our nerves, and, cleanse our palates. All right. So, going way back in the chat here. Hold on. You know what? Actually, we are now an hour and 9 minutes into the stream. I think that we are going to cut off the Stalin tube, the commie tube, the Mao tube, the YouTube feed, because as much as I value and treasure every single person who watches me on YouTube, of course I do. I love you guys. The problem is that YouTube's kind of commie tube and Stalin tube, and there's all kinds of problems if I stream for too long on there. So I just do like the first hour of the show, and then the rest of it, we just continue on Rumble. So we've been going YouTube and Rumble this whole time, this entire time, and we're going to continue on Rumble. We're going to just keep going. Why? Why are we going to do that and not on YouTube? Because Rumble's awesome, and they're for free speech, and they're not going to give me all kinds of problems for just saying normal things, which is not the case with YouTube. So I'm afraid at this point, I'm going to have to ask anybody who's on YouTube to join us over on the Rumble stream. Please join us over here. The water's great. The chat's awesome. You'll love everybody here. They're very friendly and welcoming. I suggest you come over and join us right this moment. Otherwise, we'll see you Tuesday, I guess. Anyway, good night to YouTube. We'll continue with Rumble.